Welcome to the Outthinker Blogcast, the blogcast dedicated to helping you outthink your competition. My name is Kyle Krippendorf. This week I want to talk about Mohammad Yunus, who is the Nobel Peace Prize winner, the creator of microfinance from Bangladesh, where my mother's from. And I want to talk to you about it because, A, something's going on there that you want to know about, but also the strategic dynamic unfolding there points us to a universal strategic principle that is useful for you to know about your business. Now, Mohammad Yunus, as I said, Nobel Peace Prize winner, founder of microfinance, he has transformed the lives of millions of poor people around the world. And now, at age 71, his legacy is at risk. He's about to get squeezed out and forced out of the bank that he created. Now, why is that? I'm surprised that this happened because innovators, in my view, they know how to intelligently manage resistance because great innovations always create resistance. People who are able to drive their innovations through and realize their innovations are intelligent and smart in how they manage, skilled, if you will, in how they manage resistance. And but just like sometimes when you're playing soccer or another sport with someone who has not played the sport at all, it flusters you because you don't know what not to expect. I think that Mohammad Yunus didn't expect the government to behave in the way it did, and as a result, he's about to lose his position. See, there's a universal principle, a universal strategic principle that the government seems to be overlooking. The government essentially is, through a set of laws, is forcing Mohammad Yunus out of the bank. There are a lot of people who believe that the application of these laws are not justified. There are a lot of questions around what's motivating the government to do this. But let's just say there is a rivalry that has emerged between Mohammad Yunus and Sheikh Hasina, the president of the leading party in Bangladesh. She feels threatened by him, and so she is forcing him out. That's a simple version, and I'm sure there are people who disagree with that version, but let's just hold it at that. Now, if you want to force someone out, what you could do is you can do what the government seems to be doing. You corner your adversary and you force them out into submission. But that goes against a fundamental universal strategic principle which says that you're better off letting your competitor escape. To catch something, you want to let it go. Now, Sun Tzu, the Chinese general, he says that if you surround your enemy and leave them no means of escape, you force them to fight to the death. Right? I'm reading a book by Russell Simmons, which I'll talk about later. It's a great book, and he points to the same principle. It's a Buddhist principle, which says that rather than run after something, you should sit quietly and let it come to you. It's like a little girl who wants to catch a squirrel. If she runs after the squirrel will run away. But if she sits quietly with a peanut in her hand, the squirrel will come to you. There's a Chinese story about a general who wants to quell a rebellion, and rather than crush the rebels, which he has the force to do, instead he fights the rebels, captures their leader, lets him go. Fights the rebels, captures their leader, lets him go. He captures the rebel leader and lets him go 7 times until finally the rebel leader succumbs and voluntarily gives up. As a result of which you have a peace that is sustainable. Instead of having a group of people who are repressed, who are angry, who are looking for an opportunity to revolt, they have voluntarily given in. So how can you apply this strategic principle of catching something to let it go to your business? There are many ways, but here are at least 3. How about with customers? Have you ever noticed that if you really want a sale and you're sitting down next to a customer and you're giving them the hard sale, they start running away like that squirrel? Well, why don't you let them go? Why don't you say something like, I've laid out my argument. I think that we're the right service or the right product for you, but you need to make your choice. I respect that. So here's my card, and call me if you decide that you'd like to do business with us. I found, at least, that I've gotten the biggest and most exciting projects when I was too busy and I really didn't want the project. So that's what you want to work. Use that principle to your advantage. How about with people that you're recruiting to your company? If you give them the hard sale, they join your company, and then they feel sort of like they don't know if they made the right choice. So why don't you let them go instead? Why not, instead of saying, give them the offer and say, hey, take a week to think this over. We don't know if this is the right place for you. We think you're the right place for us, but you need to decide if we are the right place for you. So consider all your options. Talk to other companies and decide if this is what you want. Or why stop there? Why not do that with existing employees? One guy that I talked to, I think is from Google, he said that at his company, at a certain period, 6 months, 2 years, something like that, the company encourages people to leave and says, look, you've been here a while, you know what we're like, you know what our values are, but now you need to choose for yourself. Is this the right place for you? We want you to get on the job market, look around, and see what your other options are. See what other salaries you can get, what other companies you can work for. And if you want to continue working with us, we would absolutely love you to be here, but we want it to be at your choice. What you end up in that case is with customers, with recruits, with employees, people who have voluntarily chosen to be part of you. So that's something that the government in Bangladesh is definitely not doing. They are cornering and repressing Mohammad Yunus, and you know he is not going to be one to go quietly into the sunset. He's not going to fight back, but he's got 40 other nonprofits going to be working on. He's got millions of fans around the world. People are going to want to hear from him. They're not going to be able to just lock him in a closet. So it's better for them to let him go. It's better for you to let your customers go, better for you to let your employees go. Hopefully that was useful for you. This is Kyan Krippendorf from the Outthinker Blogcast, the blogcast dedicated to helping you outthink your competition. I look forward to hearing from you next week.